Hello everyone, welcome to my channel SW Metro official channel.
Janelle will sue Kody in court, because Kody borrowed $1 million is refusing to pay. Janelle Brown is preparing to take her former partner, Kody Brown, to court over an alleged unpaid debt of $1 million. The dispute stems from a financial agreement in which Kody reportedly borrowed the substantial sum from Janelle but has since refused to repay it, leading to a breakdown in their relationship and now, an impending legal battle. This situation highlights the complexities of financial entanglements in personal relationships, particularly when large sums of money are involved and trust is broken. Janelle, who has long been known for her financial independence and pragmatic approach to money matters within the plural family structure featured on the reality TV show Sister Wives, appears to have reached her limit with Kody's financial irresponsibility and alleged refusal to honor their agreement. Sources close to the situation suggest that the loan was initially made with the understanding that Kody would use the funds for a joint business venture or family expenses, but over time, it became clear that he either mismanaged the money or outright refused to acknowledge the debt. The conflict between Janelle and Kody has been brewing for years, with tensions escalating as their romantic relationship deteriorated. Fans of Sister Wives have watched their dynamic shift from one of mutual support to increasing hostility, particularly regarding financial decisions. Janelle has previously expressed frustration over Kody's spending habits and lack of accountability, especially when it came to their shared assets and investments. The $1 million loan appears to have been the final straw, pushing Janelle to take legal action to recover what she is owed. Legal experts suggest that if Janelle can provide documented evidence of the loan, such as a written agreement, bank records, or witness testimony, she stands a strong chance of winning her case in court. However, if the agreement was informal or based on verbal promises, the litigation could become more complicated, potentially turning into a contentious he said, she said battle. Kody, for his part, has denied any wrongdoing, insisting that the money was either a gift or spent on mutual family expenses that should not be repaid. His argument may hinge on the nature of their relationship at the time of the transaction. If they were still in a marital or quasi-marital partnership, he could claim that the funds were shared rather than loaned. However, Janelle's legal team is likely to counter that the money was given under clear terms of repayment, especially if she can produce any form of written communication or financial records supporting her claim. The case could also delve into the broader financial dynamics of their plural family, potentially exposing other monetary disputes among Kody's other wives, including Mary, Christine, and Robin, depending on how intertwined their finances were. Beyond the legal ramifications, this lawsuit could have lasting implications for the already fractured Brown family. Janelle's decision to take Kody to court signals a definitive end to any lingering financial or emotional ties between them, further solidifying their separation. For Kody, a court-ordered judgment requiring him to repay $1 million could have severe financial consequences, particularly if his assets are tied up in real estate or other illiquid investments. Additionally, the public nature of their dispute, given their reality TV fame, means that the details of their financial dealings will likely be scrutinized by fans and media alike, adding another layer of stress to an already volatile situation. As the case moves forward, key questions will emerge. Did Janelle and Kody have a formal loan agreement, or was the money exchanged under more ambiguous circumstances? How will Kody defend against the allegations, and does he have any counterclaims against Janelle? Will other members of the Brown family be dragged into the litigation as witnesses or even co-defendants? The outcome of this lawsuit could set a precedent for how financial disputes between former partners, especially those in non-traditional family structures, are handled in court. For now, Janelle's decision to pursue legal action underscores her determination to hold Kody accountable, marking a decisive moment in their tumultuous relationship. If she succeeds, it could empower others in similar situations to seek justice when financial agreements are breached, regardless of personal ties. The case also raises broader questions about financial responsibility and trust within plural marriages, where multiple spouses often share resources without clear legal protections. Unlike traditional marriages, where divorce courts can divide assets and enforce spousal support, plural families like the Browns operate in a legal gray area, leaving individuals like Janelle vulnerable if partnerships dissolve. Her lawsuit may prompt others in similar arrangements to formalize financial agreements in writing to avoid future disputes. In the court of public opinion, reactions to the lawsuit are likely to be divided. Some will sympathize with Janelle, viewing her as a wronged party seeking justice after being taken advantage of financially. Others may see the lawsuit as a vindictive move, further straining an already broken family. Regardless of public sentiment, the legal system will ultimately decide whether Kody is obligated to repay the $1 million, and the repercussions of that decision will resonate far beyond the courtroom. As the legal proceedings unfold, one thing is clear: Janelle is no longer willing to let Kody's financial behavior go unchecked. By taking him to court, she is asserting her rights and demanding accountability, an action that could redefine their relationship permanently. Whether this leads to a settlement, a court judgment, or a prolonged legal battle remains to be seen, but the stakes are undeniably high for both parties. For Janelle, it's about principle and recovering what she is owed. For Kody, it's a fight to protect his finances and reputation. The case serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of mixing personal relationships with significant financial transactions, and the importance of clear, legally binding agreements, even among family. Ultimately, this lawsuit is more than just a dispute over money. It's a final severing of ties between two people who were once partners in life and business. The courtroom will now determine whether Kody must face the consequences of his alleged financial betrayal, or if he will successfully evade accountability. For Janelle, the pursuit of justice is not just about the $1 million, it's about closure and reclaiming her financial autonomy after years of entanglement with a man who, in her eyes, failed to uphold his end of the bargain. The case will be closely watched, not only by fans of Sister Wives but by anyone interested in the intersection of love, money, and the law. Janelle has made the decision to take Kody to court over an unpaid $1 million debt. The dispute stems from a loan agreement in which Kody borrowed a substantial sum of money from Janelle, presumably under the understanding that he would repay her in a timely manner. However, as time has passed, Kody has allegedly refused to honor his financial obligation, leaving Janelle with no choice but to pursue legal action to recover the funds. This situation highlights the complexities of financial dealings between individuals, especially when large sums of money and personal relationships are involved. The case raises important questions about the enforceability of verbal agreements, the necessity of written contracts, and the potential consequences of failing to repay borrowed money. The origins of the $1 million loan remain somewhat unclear, but sources suggest that Kody may have needed the funds for a business venture, personal expenses, or an investment opportunity. At the time, Janelle, perhaps out of trust, familial obligation, or a verbal promise of repayment, agreed to lend him the money. However, as months or even years passed without repayment, Janelle likely attempted to resolve the matter privately, sending reminders or demanding payment through informal channels. When these efforts failed, legal action became the only viable option. In many jurisdictions, loans between individuals are legally binding, even without a formal written agreement, as long as there is evidence of the transaction and an understanding of repayment terms. Janelle's case will likely hinge on proving that the money was indeed a loan and not a gift, which could involve presenting text messages, emails, bank records, or witness testimonies to establish the nature of the agreement. Kody's refusal to pay could stem from various reasons, including financial hardship, a dispute over the terms of the loan, or even a belief that the money was given as a gift rather than a debt. If he argues that the funds were not intended to be repaid, the court will have to examine the evidence to determine the true nature of the transaction. Additionally, if there was no formal contract, Kody might attempt to exploit the lack of documentation to avoid liability. However, courts often consider the context of the relationship between the parties, previous financial dealings, and any communications that reference repayment. If Janelle can demonstrate that Kody acknowledged the debt at any point, such as through partial payments or admissions in writing, her case will be significantly stronger. The legal process will likely begin with Janelle filing a civil lawsuit for breach of contract or unjust enrichment, depending on the specifics of the case. Breach of contract would apply if there was a clear agreement, written or verbal, that Kody failed to uphold, while unjust enrichment would argue that Kody unfairly benefited from the money without compensating Janelle. The court may also consider whether interest was part of the original agreement, as lenders are sometimes entitled to collect interest on unpaid loans, depending on state laws. If Janelle wins the lawsuit, the court could order Kody to repay the $1 million plus any applicable interest and legal fees. Enforcement of the judgment could involve wage garnishment, liens on property, or seizure of assets if Kody continues to refuse payment. Beyond the legal ramifications, this case could have serious personal and reputational consequences for both parties. Financial disputes between friends or family members often lead to irreparable rifts, and the public nature of a court battle may further strain their relationship. If the case garners media attention, it could also damage Kody's credibility, particularly if he is seen as someone who reneges on financial commitments. On the other hand, if Kody can prove that the money was a gift or that Janelle's claims are unfounded, his reputation may remain intact while Janelle's motives could be questioned. This situation serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of formalizing loans, even between trusted individuals. While it may seem unnecessary or awkward to draft a contract when lending money to a friend or family member, doing so can prevent misunderstandings and legal battles down the line. A simple promissory note outlining the loan amount, repayment terms, and interest, if any, can provide clarity and legal protection for both parties. Additionally, documenting transactions through bank transfers, rather than cash, creates a paper trail that can be critical in disputes. As the case progresses, observers will be watching closely to see how the court rules and whether the two parties can reach a settlement before trial. Mediation or arbitration could provide a less adversarial resolution, allowing them to negotiate repayment terms without the publicity and expense of a courtroom battle. However, if Kody remains unwilling to cooperate, Janelle's decision to sue may be the only way to recover her money. Ultimately, this lawsuit underscores the importance of financial accountability and the potential pitfalls of mixing personal relationships with large monetary transactions. Whether Janelle succeeds in reclaiming her $1 million will depend on the strength of her evidence and the court's interpretation of their agreement. Regardless of the outcome, the case serves as a stark reminder that even the closest of relationships can be fractured by unpaid debts, and that legal action is sometimes the only recourse when trust is broken. Kody, after he borrowed a staggering $1 million from her and has since refused to repay the debt. This financial betrayal has not only strained their relationship but has also left Janelle with no choice but to pursue justice through the court system. The situation highlights the severe consequences of broken financial agreements, especially when large sums of money and personal trust are involved. According to Janelle, the loan was initially presented as a short-term financial solution for Kody, who assured her that he would repay the full amount within an agreed-upon timeframe. However, as months turned into years, Kody began avoiding conversations about repayment, offering excuses, delays, and eventually outright refusal to honor his commitment. This has left Janelle in a precarious financial position, as the $1 million was not just a casual loan but a significant portion of her savings, possibly even tied to her retirement funds or other critical investments. The legal battle that is set to unfold will likely delve into the specifics of their agreement, whether it was a formal contract with documented terms or a verbal agreement based on mutual trust. In many jurisdictions, verbal agreements can still be legally binding if there is sufficient evidence, such as witness testimonies, text messages, emails, or bank records showing the transfer of funds with a clear understanding of repayment. Janelle's legal team will likely argue that Kody's refusal to repay constitutes a breach of contract, and they may seek not only the return of the principal amount but also interest, legal fees, and possibly additional damages if they can prove that Kody acted in bad faith. The case could also explore whether there was any collateral or security attached to the loan, such as property or other assets that Kody may have pledged as a guarantee. If such agreements were made and Kody fails to comply, Janelle could potentially file for liens against his assets, forcing a sale to recover the owed amount. Furthermore, if Kody has engaged in deceptive practices, such as hiding assets, transferring money to third parties to avoid repayment, or falsely denying the existence of the loan, he could face even more severe legal consequences, including accusations of fraud. The court will examine bank statements, financial disclosures, and any communication between the two parties to determine the validity of Janelle's claims. Given the substantial amount involved, this lawsuit could drag on for months or even years, especially if Kody mounts a vigorous defense, possibly arguing that the money was a gift rather than a loan or that Janelle has no legal standing to demand repayment. However, if Janelle can provide clear evidence of the loan's terms and Kody's acknowledgement of the debt, she stands a strong chance of winning the case. Beyond the legal